Hey guys, it's Trish. Welcome back to my channel. We're going to do a fun necklace today, and I'm going to start going over what we're going to use here. Beautiful check fire polish. A really cool metal mix that's still on the website. Some 22 gauge wire. And I have 18 gauge here, but I'm going to show you the wire I ended up using here. And then this beautiful strand Moonlit block by Jesse James Beads and a beautiful jersey. A little bit of fairy silk in white. And I'm also going to be using these ribbon clamps for the end of the sari silk. And this is the 20 gauge wire that I used. Let's get started. Okay guys, so what I've done here is I've kind of prepared everything for us to make our project. I've taken and laid out the pattern that I want for the necklace, for the metal part of it. And I've also put jump rings onto our little stars. I don't know if you can see that. They're just little oval jump rings that I've put on our stars. And I've just laid the pattern out. Like I said, I've cut our wire to about 30 inches. So what we're going to do here is with this 30, and this is a 20 gauge. Just so you know, guys. We are going to kind of warm it up with our hands, kind of straighten it out a little bit, at least on this one end that we're going to be using. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a wrapped loop on the end. So I'm just going to take my tweezer nose pliers and I'm going to make that horizontal bend and then place in my, excuse me, my round nose pliers into that bend, take it up and over, turn my pliers and take the wire across the bottom, and that's the starts of a great wrap loop. And then I'm going to hold onto that loop with my chain nose or my tweezer nose and just wrap this wire around three times, 4 times, whatever you like there, guys. So I think I'm going to do one more just to kind of get it the way I want, and I'm just going to tweak this up just a smidge just to get that lined up nicely. And there we go. And then I'm just going to take my flush cutters and cut that wire flush there and just push that burr end down, okay? And that's the starts of our wire part of the necklace. Okay, so what all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to follow my pattern that I have laid out, and I'm going to string it onto this wire just as you would do it onto beading wire. It's the same concept. I'm just going to get my tools out of the way there. So we'll just get started here and put on this rondelle and one of our stars. And the reason we had to put these jump rings on, guys, is because they won't hang right if you don't, because of the way the holes are in them. See, you have to put that jump ring on to be able to get them to hang right on your piece. So we'll put that on. And this beautiful moonstone rondelle. And a beautiful 8mm fire polish. This particular fire polish, Bermuda it is called, I don't, oops, throwing things. I don't see that they still carry this on Jesse James Beads. However, they have some other beautiful silver lined beads that would work just as well for your project. The 8mm fire polish beads. So I just think it just, in my opinion, everything needs fire polish, but you know, that's just me. But I have a little bit of an obsession. And then this beautiful faceted, look at that flash in that. That is just gorgeous, guys. Beautiful, beautiful. And I'm just making sure that on my pattern that I have enough metal on here, because as you guys all know, metal makes magic. That's a saying that goes around the beading community, because it does. It makes your beautiful beads pop. Oop, and I forgot to put my bead caps on this one, so we'll go ahead and take that off and put our bead caps on. It does make a big difference with your pieces to have that metal. My end's getting a little bent, so I'm just gonna take my fingers just so my beads will feed on easier. As far as the metal goes, yes, it makes a big difference with pieces. It really helps to make them stand out. And now we're also going to have the wire involved, so that's really going to make everything pop up really nice. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish stringing this up, guys, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, so here is what we have so far. I have strung all of the pattern onto my 20 gauge wire, and I'm really happy with this pattern. I think it looks super, super cool. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make another wrap loop on this end. But remember guys, you're gonna wanna leave just a little bit of air on the end here. Don't wrap it super tight, because you want your stars and your druzy to be able to have some movement to them, and that's what really makes the piece nice, is because you have the movement of the pieces. So I'm just going to go just slightly above this bead here, just very slightly. Maybe here, let me show you how far up I am, okay, before I make my bend. I'm just gonna do that. Maybe just, actually I'm gonna go about that far. I'm not really great with measurements, but that kind of gives you an idea. Sorry if you hear my wire banging against the ring light. I apologize. But it's a really long piece of wire. So same thing, we made our horizontal bend. We're gonna put in our round nose pliers up and over, twisting to the sides so they are now horizontal. Take that wire across, hang on to your loop with your pliers, and then just wrap down. But that kind of gives you an idea. I'm wrapping it back up. And see that space that I left there, guys? That's very important. So now we have our wire sticking out of the end that we just made the loop on. Okay, guys? You see that? Now what we're going to do here is we're going to wrap this wire back around. We're going to wrap that wire back around this piece that we just put together, okay? And simply, I'm just going to just kind of straighten this out because it's been banging around and hitting into different things. But I'm just taking my hands and I'm just getting that straightened out. And so you can see the wire comes out behind here. So I want to make sure that as I wrap back down, and I guess we're going to wrap back down now, but whoops, wrong way. So we'll wrap back down, and then we're going to be ready to start taking this. I'm a fan of messy wrap loops, so if you see that, I like more bird nest looking instead of the, you know, really, really neat, and I just like the bird's nest look. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to start wrapping this wire around my piece. Okay, let's get that facing forward so you can kind of see what we have here. Okay, and I'm just going to take this wire and I'm going to go loosely. You don't want to go too tight. Again, if you go too tight, things are going to be really tight and really just stiff and not looking near as nice. And I'm just lightly wrapping that wire around the outside. I'm not shoving it down between anything. I want that to be just loosely wrapped around the beads. And I'm just working my way up. You can see. Just loosely wrap round and round. And there's no rhyme or reason necessarily to this. You can make it however you want it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to skip over the back with that druzy, where that druzy is. See? And I'm just gonna kind of skip that. It'll be behind it, but if it's not tight, it should be just fine. And then just continue my way up. And you can see this is snugging up already. And I really haven't been pushing it between anything or anything like that. So just make sure you leave that space, guys. So, and I may be able to adjust that a little bit once I get it done. So actually I'm going to take this on this side of the star, I think. And then just lightly wrap. No matter how loosely you wrap, it will stiffen up. It's just, unfortunately, it's what happens. So, to a degree anyway. And if you leave more space and you leave more breathing room, you know, you're better off. So all I'm going to do here, you can see this is tight here. So I'm going to come up over to the end. And I'm just going to do a bird's nest wrap on this end. So they're uniform. So basically, there you go. There's your piece. You want to be able to get that straightened, laying how you want it, get all your stars in place. Just kind of get a good idea of what it's going to look like for you. And I think I'm going to roll that back just a hair to give my star just a little more breathing room there. And pull this end up some. And pull this end up. Now what I'm doing is I'm just trying to leave a little bit more room for everything just by making these ends a little closer up. Now that we have this piece, and it's backwards, there we go. Now that we have this piece, we're going to move on to attaching the fairy silk, okay? We're gonna move on to attaching the fairy silk. Now what I've done with our fairy silk is I have cut 2 pieces at 9 inch in length. Let me just double check that because I did that a while ago and my brain is short term, unfortunately. Yes, 8 inches, excuse me. Cut them both at 8 inches, okay? But you can cut them how, you know, to whatever length that you would like. If you want it to be a longer necklace or a shorter necklace or just whatever makes you happy. So, and again, I'm just adjusting this wire a little bit. I saw a spot where I wanted to. Okay, so get that kind of in the shape that we want it. Okay guys, so now what we're going to do is we're going to attach the fairy silk to the piece, and I'm just keeping this as simple as possible. Let me get that wire out of the way. And we're going to use ribbon crimp ends. You could definitely wire wrap the fairy silk onto the piece through those loops very easily. Just wrap around. But today I'm going super simple, and we're just going to use some ribbon crimp ends that I had on hand here. And we're just going to take that ribbon crimp, and you see how I have that in the end of my pliers. If you've never done this before, it does take a little finesse, but once you get used to doing it, it's easy enough. So, and I'm just going to put that over the end of my fairy silk, just like so. Put my fairy silk through the middle, and I'm just going to give that a main squeeze, just one squeeze, and then I'm going to go and squeeze on this side. And you don't have to crank down on it, guys. You can do this fairly gently. I mean, don't like squeeze really hard because you'll distort and it may cut through your fairy silk if you're not careful. So I got that one on that end, as you can see, just simple, speeds things along. And then we're going to do the same thing on this end because we're going to need to attach a clasp. Okay. And I'm going to just trim those frays off there a little bit. I don't like the looks of that. And it will stick out the side and all that. You don't want that. You want it to be nice and neat on the end. So same thing. I have my crimp in my pliers. Gonna squeeze. Get one squeeze in the middle. And that's so it stays where you put it, basically, guys. Okay. And then to the right side and to the left side. Okay. So there's one piece done, ready to be attached into what it needs attached into. Okay. So we're gonna do this one and I'll be right back. Okay guys, so we have our ends onto both our pieces of fairy silk. Now we're just gonna do the easy part. We're just gonna attach everything together with some jump rings. These are just some oval jump rings. You can use whatever jump rings you have on hand. This is just what I grabbed. But all we're gonna do is open that front to back. You know how we always do. Don't ever pull it apart because it'll distort your jump ring. And we're gonna hook it into this loop right here, okay? And then we're just gonna hook it through the loop on one of the ribbon crimp ends. And it couldn't be any simpler, guys. And of course I say that and then I can't grab a hold of this tiny jump ring. But okay, so there's that, the one side hooked in. Again, you could hook that side in however you wanted to. If you have another way that you like to do it, that's your preference, go for it. This is just a starting idea basically. So let's get this one opened up and we're going to attach this side. Okay, let's just get this one attached through the loop and then through the ribbon, the ribbon end, and just back and forth to get them together. All right, so we got that far. Now all we have to do is do the same thing to attach our clasp. Okay, guys, what I usually like to do is put my working end on the right-hand side. So if it's gonna be a lobster clasp, you would put the lobster on the right-hand side versus the left-hand side. It just seems to me that as I sell my pieces to people that they do prefer that the working end is on the right. So do what you like, whatever tickles your fancy, of course. So we're just going to open our jump ring again, front to back, grab our bar and put that jump ring through there, then through our ribbon end. I'm just adjusting here so I can get a better hold of my jump ring, and then we're going to close that up. Okay. And same thing here, guys. Let's get this last jump ring here. Opened up through our other end of the clasp and through our ribbon crimp end. I do like the ease of the ribbon crimp ends. They do make it nice, especially if you want to keep a project simple. So that's it, guys. I'm just going to hook this through here. You can see this is a really pretty clasp that came in that summer camp mix that I was telling you about at the beginning, that you can still get on Jesse James Beads as of today. And that is the piece, guys. I am really thrilled with that. I'm happy with the way it turned out. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like it as well. Make it your own, guys, and enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. And I thank you for stopping by today, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.